dates when using in a get filter are very important, and how we get those correct dates. Let me see a filter right here. How we get those correct dates is a real challenge sometimes. So stay tuned. We're going to go over several things. We're going to actually walk through an example. I'm going to give you some examples of how to generate some different dates, and then we're going to walk through a cookbook on moving from a form where we're collecting the data, dumping it into a list, and then being able to filter that list based on data that we've input. So this is a pretty cool reference video for you that you can use when working with dates and forms and lists. So stay tuned. So the first thing we want to do really is kind of look at this document here. And I'm just going to show you, it's not really part of the cookbook, but I wanted to show you a variation of getting an accurate date inside Flow, or in, actually I put here in Power Apps, but inside of Flow is really where it's at. So here, when we initiate a date variable, we're going to use UTC now for our date variable, but if we need to convert it to our own time zone, we can do that by simply adding this variable to the base time. And we could, I just typically use a variable. You could put UTC now directly in there if you wanted to. We're going to take the international date line west, which is UTC, and then we're going to convert it to central time, which is UTC here. And then we're going to put it out as this pattern. There's multiple strings you can pick from. And then you can reset your date variable to this converted time. That's one way to do it. But let's go right into the cookbook now and see what we're going to do here. So here we have a form. We're collecting a name and a date. That's it. Now I know some of you say, well, we already create, it automatically generates a created date from the form. And that is a true statement. But it's kind of wonky sometimes when you get into the get items filter. So I just collect the date here, just have them click today. They don't know any different, and it makes my life a lot easier. Then we have this form, and I'll just let you look at the list here real quick. So here we're really using this one, name, form submitted, current date. They're all single line of text, and one of the reasons for that is because all of the data coming out of a form is a string. It's string data. So when you look at it inside JSON, this is all string-based data. And these are all just strings. So we're gonna see that more, and we're gonna use the code viewer here in just a minute. Okay, so let's create the flow. So we've got the form, we've got the the list. Now let's create the flow itself. So here I'm using the automatic flow. So let me show you that real quick, just in case you're not tracking there. So this is an automatic flow right here, or automated cloud flow. All right. So here we're going to just look for the form in our environment, and response ID is the only one you can pick. So pretty easy. Now we're going to create the item in our list, and we're going to pull the two fields that we've collected in the form here, name and date. We're going to pull them, and then we're going to also pull UTC now. We're going to set the current date to UTC now, which is right here. And that field, current date, oops. So this is current date right here. And form submitted date right here. So when you hit the date here, that date is going here, and then the current date's going there. Okay? And we're taking that, and you can see that UTC. Now, when it comes to the filter, we're going to go ahead and call the list again, and we're going to go ahead and do a comparison. And here what we're going to do is we're going to compare the form submit date, which remember is the date that we input up here, today's date, okay, from the form itself. Okay, that's the form submit date. Right there. Excuse me, keep yawning. And then, not that this is a boring topic. And then we're going to say equals to outputs. Now, this right here is a newer format. If you don't have this yet, you can go to View Power Automate, right there, experimental features. So click there, settings, blam. Okay, and if you don't have it, it's going to look like this. Form submit, which is the field, is equal to, and then the output is right here. Now notice the output is in create item body current date. So right here, current date, but it's pulling from this action right here. When we create the item in SharePoint, that's the date that it's pulling from. So essentially it's pulling from here. Now, what's wonky about this is if you put UTC now inside here instead of output, it doesn't work all the time. But since we're doing it here and then we're doing it here, it seems to work. So let's go ahead and take this baby for a test ride and see what I'm talking about. So we're just going to hit test. We're going to do a manual test, but let's go over to the form. We're going to hit test. And then we're going to kind of pull this thing apart so you can take a look. So now it's just waiting for us. Okay, so we're going to go back over to the form and we're going to put in here Joe Snuffy 30. Okay, and we're going to put in today's date. Easy enough. Hit submit. Now we're going to go back over to our flow. It ran quickly and successfully. And we're going to go down here. We're going to click on outputs. Now we're going to do a Control A and a Control C. So we're going to copy all that content. And I'm using Beautify. You can use, there are multiple editors that do this. I use COOKBOOK. So I'm going to copy and paste that right in. And then I'm going to close down my headers. And I'm going to see the one value that came over. Okay? Which is what we want. We're going to look at the list. Well, let's look at the list. So here I have two things on the list, right? I have one that was submitted yesterday on the 28th and one that was submitted today, Joe Snuffy 30. That's really the one that we want. And so right there it is, Joe Snuffy 30. All right, so, and then here are the two dates comparing, and you can see that. Now, if there were more than one, you'd see it. Don't let this 0 throw you off because that's where the count starts at 0. So that's pretty much how you can troubleshoot and get this working. Now, what do you do from here? Well, from this get items, you can send an email. I'm going to convert this file into a PDF. You can do all types of things to this file now that you have the data filtered properly based on the date of the form submission. So good luck.